First of all, Sheeba, please take us through your journey. From what I know, that you come from a business family. You studied in Delhi. You pursued a degree in literature, and then how did acting happen to you?
It didn't happen much earlier, Yamini. I think I just had the bug, inside my gut. College, I got in through the dramatics quota because I never had any marks to do literature. But I never was a total backbencher.
And then you moved to Bombay to pursue career in films and television.
Yes.
So let's talk about Bandish Bandits. From what I've seen and heard, that you have a very complex role, a woman who is held back by constrained by patriarchy, then takes a stand, and then stands up for her child. It's very different. If I think, I think I find it as a contrast with what you played in Badhai Ho, a liberated woman who went back to judging a woman who was pregnant in her middle age. So this kind of diversity, how does it affect your own, does it challenge your own thought process when you come across these different characters?
Not challenge in the sense that sometimes you have to think of the right and wrong of it, but I park it. I give it a thought and then I don't dwell upon that too much. Of course, it's very important for us to also feel and be a little more responsible towards what we play. But at the end of the day, for me, it is a character that's being played, and if she is, for example, in the middle of a patriarchal setup, then what is the redemption or what is the arch of this character, which also gives a counter image and a counter to the patriarchal, for example, setup that this character starts from. Does that happen? So it's like this happens for Mohini, this character, a lot, and I find that lovely about this character.
Do you feel that you should, more and more characters should be written for women who are grey and not just put them, you should not create
everything across the board, Yamini. I mean, any kind of black and white writing is most, it's boring. It's not interesting. It's uninteresting.
So the question around age appropriate roles is never far, and we often ask this to many actors that we interview, because recently we have seen a rise in roles being written for women in their 40s and their 50s. But can we say that we have finally overcome ageism in entertainment?
Of course not.
Are we at that point?
No, we haven't. Obviously not, because otherwise there'll be like volume of content like that. Then we wouldn't even be having this question. We wouldn't even we haven't been discussing this. I mean, if it were totally transcended ageism, we haven't. It's still a very youth-driven. It's still a very male gaze-driven setup. Still, it is. Undoubtedly, and ageism for women particularly is a very male gaze consequence, isn't it? So of course it's there. But sure, I mean, again, from someone my age, I get to play a Mohini, I get to play a Mumtaz in Taj Mahal. These are really, for me, I feel terribly blessed to be playing these roles. But more. We need lots, because still people are still trying to find out their ground of what is this writing for this age, for this gender, what does it even mean? And just more interesting conversations. I think if they start happening in our society, they will start reflecting in our work, no? So I think we're still floundering, with what does it mean? What does it mean? A late 40s, early 50s woman, and what is she only supposed to be this? Either a diva or a repressed this thing, or a single mother, or a liberated woman. Wahi hai. So stereotypes, but I think we only start making the conversation bigger, then there'll be more interesting writing that will come out.
Let's discuss you as a feminist mother. Is Sheeba Chaddha a feminist mother?
So I think I'm learning to be, because it's so amazing, Yamini, that one doesn't even realize as to how patriarchy is ingrained in Asia. It's like a part of our DNA almost, particularly for a girl who's grown up in the North. You don't even realize that how much you have internalized it. It becomes as a part of your natural response. So in fact, I think my daughter is more of a teacher to me than I am to her. on that. So she likes to call herself a feminist at 14. She's
Wow.
yeah, she's really educating me a lot. I'm learning so much from her. Some of my natural responses, of course, and some of my learned responses, of course I share. But then constant dialogue is there on in the house. But just really new stuff that she brings to me, it's amazing. And she'll be one who'll pointing out, see what you just did right now. And I'll be like, God, you're so right. I wouldn't even think about it. And she's like my shout outer. She shouts. She's the one. So it's lovely.
We often don't hear people say that, they find inspiration in work of young people. Are there any young women actors or artists that you admire?
So I'm constantly working with so many young people in the OT thing. When I do sketches and all, most of my directors are women, and it's lovely. I just worked with Anu Menon on Shakuntala Devi. The entire crew was women, which I loved. It was an all-women crew, and that was just fantastic. It's another energy completely. It's a different vibe. I can't put my finger on it, but it's a different vibe. It's really, I love it. I truly do.
Let's talk about this real current issue that everybody has been discussing since last 2-3 days, that of Zomato giving its employees period leave. So as a working woman who started working in her 20s, who has worked through her 30s and now continues to work, what are your thoughts on period leave for women?
Why not? I think why not? I don't think there's any issue, because I do think it's something that's naturally a thing that women do go through, and it does impact them. So to pretend that, just because it's natural and women should just take it in their stride, no, I don't think so at all. If somebody's uncomfortable and they are getting bothered by that time, then they absolutely have to be given the space to exercise that. And it's not something that they should have to struggle. I have to go to work because I'm feeling terrible. But terrible is it's nature. So I say absolutely.
Conversation around how redundant bras have become in the pandemic. What are your thoughts on that?
To each his own, yeah. I used to have a friend who for the longest time went braless, yeah. She's this academic who's like one of the primary scholars on Ramayan. Her name is Actor Sheeba Chaddha, and for the longest time she went braless. And then after doing like many years of that, then she decided she wanted to get back. So it's a very personal call, and no judgment whatsoever on anybody who takes a call on either side.
Make this decision based on what is comfortable for what's their own comfort.
As they should for everything, and everything related to feminism as well. It should not be a borrowed thing. Yeah, that's a real problem I find. Little bit. How do I say? A sense of perspective is very critical. It's whilst being like utter awareness, but a sense of perspective, and a balance. Very, very important. Because I don't think it can be ever about us only. It has to be us holding the other gender along. Otherwise, it's such a pointless. It's just a versus thing, and it's so stupid and futile at the end of the day, So yeah, absolutely, it should be a choice of that woman on anything, absolutely anything. Yeah, and
you made a really interesting.
Just hope that the choice is an informed choice.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any videos by us.